Okay guys, Trey and Jason back with Paducah Home Theater Television here on YouTube to share with you guys a listening evaluation of the long-awaited LaScala versus K-Horn.
We've been running this series a little while now, and I have been really looking forward to this compare here because it's something I've always wanted to see side by side. I've heard the LaScalas individually, I've heard the K-Horns individually, but just to have the ability to do this A-B comparison side by side is going to be awesome.
Yeah, so everything's hooked up through the A-B comparator. It's all using the same amplifier, same processors.
So essentially what we're running right here, our source material is coming out of my laptop here, going directly into the Parasound P6 preamplifier, out to the Cyrus Stereo 200, and then out to our QSC ABX switcher, and then into our speakers. We're getting the exact same source, we're getting the exact same amplification through both units.
The only thing that I would prefer to do is as we did with the Heresy and Forte, when you staggered them. So you had a Heresy Forte. We can't do that with the K-Horns because of the corners, so we are what we are. But we tried to dial them in enough or tow them. People may look at the setup and go, why didn't you tow the speaker? Well, there's two of us. And although I like Jason, we don't sit that close. Having the speakers towed the way they are, separated the way they are, gives enough stereo image for both of us that we can dial in that vocalist in the middle or wherever things may be in the recordings.
And talk about it and both be equal to talk about it. Both be in a sitting position where we can hear things equally. Yeah. So I'm done talking. Let's get into this. You ready?
Let's go see Trey.
Yeah, you want to go see Trey?
I do.
Trey is a fan of Trey.
I am a fan of Trey. He even spells it correctly. This is Trey Johnson, actually. He's a Hope, Arkansas, Prescott, Arkansas native. I've known Trey Johnson for, I don't know, 30 years or so, but one hell of a singer-songwriter guy.
As always, we'll be linking all of these in the description, so be sure to check these guys out, like and subscribe to their pages as well, because these guys are allowing us to use all this music, and
all they want back is some love.
Yeah, so give them that love.
Show them some love.
So Trey Johnson, this is Bring My Baby Home. I need to do it. Am I blocking your IR?
I don't know. Yep. You know how hard it is for me to give up the button?
Man, I love that recording. That is a good testing track. Props to Trey Johnson.
Yeah.
Awesome track.
Absolutely. The thing that got me there is that, or caught me off guard, is the LaScala and the K-Horn have the same parts on the top end.
Why does the K-Horn sound so much brighter?
It's different. It really is. It's huge. I mean, I listen to LaScala like that all the time, day and night. All the TV, all the music, everything goes to that LaScalas.
Yeah, if you guys check out the history video, you'll see Trey's LaScalas in his living room.
Well, we didn't show the actual front end because it's a mess, but we just showed the speaker.
You saw the LaScalas.
We don't want to show the rest of it.
We pushed everything out of the way. We moved his entire living room to shoot that video. So.
We did. The couch, everything. The cats we couldn't stop, but it was okay. Yeah, so I'm very familiar with the LaScala, especially this version of the LaScala, and I was expecting the K horn to really stomp on it, you know, because of the capabilities of that LF horn. On that natural guitar, the LaScala got it for me. I liked it better.
I think I did too. Yeah.
It was really open. It was honestly a little bit thin to me in the K horn.
When we changed it back, it almost kind of gave a megaphone vibe.
Yeah. You lost that E string off the guitar almost, which was unusual. That's going to be
Let's wind it back, do another test, and crank it up a little bit more.
Sounds like a plan. I'm not going to argue. Listen to Trey play again.
So we're going to crank this and see if we can get those woofers to move on those K horns, and see if we can make these K horns just blow the LaScalas out of the water. But I think it's still going to be a pretty fair fight here. Maybe not. That's more what I was expecting.
K horn.
Somebody bring my baby back home. Somebody please. Somebody please. I'm on my knees.
I don't know.
You know what? That sounds more recorded. You know what I mean? A process. In other words, like if you were listening to it through a PA. Now if I'm sitting in the chair listening, it sounds like that. I guess my point is that I think my point is it's not that one's better. It's that this is a recording, okay?
But it is a recording of a live performance.
Right, but it's processed. And the K horn is giving me more of what I would expect setting in front of him than the LaScala is. Mm-hmm. But I think I like the recording better through the LaScala. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So the live vibe more from the K horns.
Yeah.
But
which is what they were both were engineered to do.
Yeah.
But that LaScala on this track, I believe I like it a little bit better.
A little bit. It's a super hard, especially when we crank that up and get that woofer moving. It's a tough call. I think.
Well, as he comes up to his stomping his foot, mm-hmm. that's where I see hear the difference a lot, because you can hear the microphone picking up his stomp differently on the LaScala than you do on the K horn. On the K horn, it seems like I'm in the room mm-hmm. listening, whereas in the LaScala, it seems like I'm in the recording studio listening. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's a tighter.
If we listen to Trey as much as we wanted to, we're going to be here all night. So let's go ahead and switch it up.
Jason Helms. I know this track really well. I know Jason. Again, I've known Jason since he was 8. He learned to play guitar about 1.5 miles behind us when we lived in Hope, and he would get out on the carport. He'd hook up his little guitar, and somebody in his family had bought him a Flying V. So he'd get out there in that Flying V, and he was in the heavy metal at the time, and he just jammed me. We were 1.5 miles away, and you could hear him over there trying to learn to play the guitar.
What type of music is he now?
Now he is basically country singer-songwriter. At that time, he was Metallica-ish, Yeah, they were pretty. New Jack City was the group that he played, that he had at that time, and they were a little heavier than everything else. Now he's doing the singer-songwriter thing again. The people that know Klipsch through the Klipsch community know Jason and Trey Johnson fairly well, because they've played the Pilgrimage. Both of those guys in their respective bands have played the Pilgrimage multiple times over the years. You got to push play.
I tried. I can't see anymore.
Big play button right there. That one.
Am I on it?
Mm-hmm.
You sure?
Let me run the mouse. You run the button. You can't see the thing.
Jason Helms Band. Song name is
My Kind of Woman.
My Kind of Woman.
This is a song about his lovely wife.
pretty clean.
Saturday morning cartoons with the kids. She's all kinds of colors in a white t-shirt and a faded pair of jeans, and I can't believe that she's with me. She's my kind of woman. She works all day long, still comes home with a big old smile, even though she knows her work is never done. She's promised they used to watch me playing some old honky tonk, singing along with every
I think K-horns are taking this one. You disagree? I think when we switch back and forth, it takes like probably about 3 to 5 seconds for your ears to adjust to the K-horns almost. Because it is almost piercing at first and then it settles in.
I'm curious if we towed those back in the corner, if we get that mid-band back up.
Towing back the K-horns just a little bit to try and get them in the corner, and we're actually gonna move up a hair to center ourselves in the image. So, gonna move the whole couch.
Let me move them out, because you heard it change, right? You got some of that mid-band back out of that LF cabinet. So let me tow them back out a little bit, and just a little at a time, and tell me when we lose it. Okay. That way we'll know how far out of the corner we can get before we lose the...
And this is a perfect example of what we were talking about in previous episodes, where just because they do have the enclosed back doesn't mean you can put them in the center of the room. It does still benefit quite a bit from putting them in the corner. It makes all the difference.
It is an absolute noticeable difference when we did that. I could hear it standing up there. It's like you completed the horn, and it does what it does better.
The room plays as much of a factor as the speaker does, and your listening location is a key factor in that. And with the K-horns especially, we talked about how essentially the room acts as a fourth fold to that low frequency cabinet to a degree. I know that's kind of half-assed way of putting it, but essentially that's kind of what it is.
That's exactly what it is. You are sitting inside the horn, whereas we're in the room with the LaScala. And because of that, the room is playing a bigger part in what's going on.
I think with that one, I prefer the K-horns, but from what I've gathered so far, I think it's because he has a raspy voice, and the LaScala seems to accentuate that, whereas the K-horn seems to dial it back.
Okay.
Yeah.
You should play another cut, just a piece of another cut, just to...
This one is...
I could say I love you in a way that makes you feel like letting go.
LaScalas are more colorful.
I like things of each of them equally.
I'm leaning more towards K-horns though.
Are you? Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm just so familiar
biased
with the LaScala that I'm biased.
Yeah.
It's that upper mid band in the LaScala is more favorable to me.
Feels like home.
It does. Yeah, I guess so. I guess it feels like home. I'm missing the extreme bottom end because I usually use the THX Ultra 2 subs with them.
That's true.
So that is gone. But sorry, there's a microphone there.
Yeah, not anymore. Feels more natural. And I mentioned the raspy voice. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just I feel like I've never heard him in person, but I feel like the K horns are what he would sound like more naturally, whereas the LaScalas feel like they're coloring that and kind of accentuating it and making it less natural to a degree.
Okay, his vocals are very, in my mind, they're very similar to the two. Where I see the differences in like the bass guitar and the upper E string of the acoustic guitar, it's kind of a losing that in the, or it's presented different in the mix. I guess it's not losing it; it's presented different in the mix.
Pushing it more
in the LaScala versus the K-horn. Mm-hmm. So the LaScala kind of brings that out forward more, whereas the K-horn drops it back a little bit. And so part of that may be how you like to listen. But again, in the LaScala, it sounds a little more studio mixed, whereas in the K-horn, it sounds a little more live. The hell, that's why Paul built the thing, so it would sound live. So I guess that's not a derogatory statement. Well, you want to go to some other cut?
So I mentioned in previous videos when we talked about the Q&A about who the hell is that guy? Who the hell is... back in the day when these albums were first released 10, 15, however many years ago, when I first got into video production, this band is who I made my first music video for. So that's a little bit of my background blending into the background of these artists that we're listening to as well. This is a song called Dream by the band Distill. It's actually the song too. Frankie's in this music video. Was him standing on top of a building about to jump and commit suicide essentially. Volume up.
I like.
A bunch of changes before it hit that.
I think I'm gonna agree with you. I think on this one the K-horn's gonna take it. I think it sounds just a little bloated in that LaScala. I think at this point the K-horn, in my mind, the K-horn would take this song, because the LaScala to me sounds just a little bit bloated in that mid band. No matter what we've done here.
Well, we've talked about audio memory, right, and how it's very short. The K-horns are how I remember hearing this 15 years ago.
So it brought back that emotion is what it did. I was at Paul's one time, and Paul and Valerie, and Valerie Klipsch was a concert pianist. She grew up in France teaching concert piano as a young girl, and had made some recordings with some of her friends from back that time doing concert piano. And she had a full-size Bösendorf grand piano and a Bösendorf piano and a grand piano, and they're mirrored. Mm-hmm. Your wife has a grand piano too, so you know what I'm talking about. They mirrored both of the pianos side by side so you could face each other and play. And I've heard...
They fit inside each other.
Yeah, they do. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful picture. Yeah. And of course, that's a big-ass room to put those pianos in. But he had LaScala's, K-horns with LaScala center, and a bell center, and that was Bösendorf in the grand piano in the room. And Valerie decided she was going to play, and she went over at Bösendorf and played it, and played a cut from Rachmaninoff. And Paul says, "Wait a minute!" So he went over and put on the same cut that she had played and recorded, and played it back on the K-horns. And I wish the hair standing up on my arms right now thinking about it, because you could barely tell the difference. It was scary how close it was, that Bösendorf piano in the same room with those K-horns. And I believe if I was in the next room, I wouldn't have known which one was on. It was that scary close. And of course you could see Valerie. She's sitting over listening, and she's got that Cheshire cat grin, like that's me playing, And it was her playing. You could hear it, And of course, at her age, and her hands weren't perfect back then, at that time. So this was when she was a young girl versus a lady of age, and her playing was still pretty good, but you could absolutely hear that piano in both applications. I mean, the actual piano and the reproduction of the piano. It was impressive. It really was impressive.
Changing kind of the pace and the type of music that we're listening to.
Well, I was talking about classical.
Yeah, we're not going that route. Okay. We're gonna go the exact opposite. So this is a band called Draekon, and this is The Value of All. It's not exactly classical.
It's a little heavier than that, you think?
A little heavier than classical.
Tiny bit? Let's have a listen.
Classical heavy metal.
This metal is supposed to be loud. That was pretty subtle. Oh, there we go.
I think the singer is going to be where we make the difference here. Oh yeah. Anyone? They both have their favorable points in this.
I do, but I kind of think I got the K-horn on this one. Paul would be rolling over in his grave when I said that, I think, but I think the K-horns are better.
Vocals, K-horn takes it.
Yeah.
No, like that's when I kind of lean more towards the K-horns, because vocals, K-horn takes it. I feel like instrumentals, the LaScalas have it. I'm torn on this one.
Yeah.
Now,
The best way to solve that is to turn it back on and crank it up. Is that K-horn? Now go back. Just the bottom end makes a difference in the K-horn. It's so much better.
the ability to differentiate and to pick out each instrumental piece, the K-horns take it in that aspect.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was kind of expecting the LaScalas on that one again, but now the K-horns in my mind have that. So this next track is a little more progressive, grungy-ish rock. Another Indiana musician.
This track is called Hot Potato, and we will, again, as always, we'll post a link in the description. Check it out.
I haven't heard this track, I don't believe, or at least I don't recognize the name. I completely expect a lot of bounce.
So first time listening through to this, Matt Sommers, if you go to his website, has, 30 albums on there by now?
He's written and played virtually all the music.
Yeah, and every type of instrument imaginable.
He's played all of
Everything,
them.
and things that aren't instruments that he makes into instruments as well. So
True.
It's really cool stuff that he does over there. So definitely check that out.
He does all the recording himself as the original tracks, and then he sent it out to Combover for the mastering. But,
And we said this is our first time hearing this. This what is this album about a week
week old?
something like that. So he sent it over to us to do this testing with, and this is our first time hearing a lot of these tracks. So let's check it out. hot potato. I like the fade out of that background, so you could still hear the bus pulling in for a minute until there's a very long crossfade. Oh yeah.
Gotta got a CC top feel to it. Like the bottom octave woke up. Bass guitar is all set there.
Which one's this?
What's playing?
No, which speaker?
I guess the K1. Because that bottom octave woke up. You can absolutely hear the 50 hertz roll off of that LF horn of the LaScala here. Yeah, all of a sudden E string and bass guitars
Blends.
there. That's not gonna take long for me. I think the K-horn has that one all day. It has low end below the capabilities of the horn of the LaScala LF, and you can hear it. You can hear the lack of that when you're listening to the LaScala, and you have the wealth of it from the K-horn. So yeah, there's no
Everything in there felt a little bit more crisp.
yeah. I definitely went K-horn there.
Now, the LaScala with that track is fitting more in the grungy vibe that it's putting off, though.
Agreed. But as I believe the LaScala, if you had the sub setting in there with it, it wouldn't be a contest. I think the LaScala would win at that point because you've got all the volume, all the punch, and the extreme bottom end. But without the sub, there's no question that K-horn runs away with the bottom end there.
Okay.
Good job, Matt.
Yeah, great job.
Matt
It sounds
Matt Square.
Matt's.
They'll hate me for that. Just I've known both of them for a long, long time. They'll both hate me for that. All right, let's see.
Seth Jones.
Without saying anything, I'm pretty sure we're in the same boat here.
It's so much cleaner.
Yeah, the K-horn.
Yeah, so much cleaner.
That mid-range seems a little bit muddy. Not mid-range, that's not the right word. Low mids at 500 to 700 hertz, and that LaScala is just a little muddy.
And I will say this 1,000 times, the LaScala sounds amazing. It does.
Yeah,
It's just,
we're
comparing amazing versus amazing, so it's a little hard, but this is the only way I think that we'd ever be able to tell the difference between a LaScala and a K-horn and say one is for sure better than the other, or where one shines is by doing this instant change. Like, I think if we went into this room or like just did a quick swap, even 30 seconds.
It'd be very hard, very hard to make a call. I tell you what, this would be probably a fun doing tests like this would be a fun blind listening in this situation.
Oh, yeah.
Because there would be some people that would have a hard time picking out which is which.
Oh, yeah, so much closer than I anticipated. I was expecting just a runaway, and I feel like that's been kind of the trend on these. Like, we expect, hey, the Forte is going to blow away the Heresy. Holy shit, the Heresy kept up. And then, yeah, we've had the same outcomes with a lot of these.
I'm not sure why we think that way.
I don't, yeah.
Because it is a family of speakers. You can expect them to be pretty doggone close to each other.
Well, like, leaning back to the Heresies, at one point the Forte would completely just destroy it with the low frequency on that speaker. But this new generation of Heresies that came out, they're doing pretty well in the low frequency, especially with the right positioning.
And even though LaScala, since we're on these two, LaScala kind of is the same way. Back in the day when the LaScala was a 3/4 inch plywood LF cabinet, it was absolutely a different sounding LF than it is now with that 1 inch MDF. The 1 inch MDF cabinetry is so much more dense and less reverberant than the 3/4 inch plywood. It makes a huge difference. And if you don't believe me, reach over and tap one on the side of that LF cabinet. And if you won't believe me even more, go get you an old LaScala and put a oscillating drill on the side of it. Oscillating sander on the side of it. It will excite that LF horn big time. And you don't get that with these. It's not the same.
No, it's
so. The
You're
point
right.
of that,
We shouldn't be as surprised as we are, but yeah, it's a close call.
the low end off of that LaScala is better than you expect it to be, even though the thing rolls off. You've seen the curves, seen the numbers at 50 hertz. It sounds like it goes lower than that.
It does. Man, all right, so we have ran all the way up to the K-horn now, but that does not mean that we're done.
No, we still have the Jubilee.
We still have the Jubilees. So stay tuned, you guys. I'm super excited because we're gonna unbox the Jubilees. We are going to do a little history lesson on the Jubilees, and then we are going to compare side by side the Jubilees and the K-horns.
Well, we're going to go through the setup of that of Paducah Home Theater's quasi plug and play Jubilee system.
One of the reasons I'm looking forward to that unboxing and that setup is because with the K-horns, even with the LaScalas to some degree, and especially with the Jubilees, you see this giant, and it's super intimidating to look at, but it's so easy.
We're so short.
It could be a little bit of that, but they are not difficult to set up. You can put one of these in your rooms and have it up and going in 20 minutes. You'll be good to go. Be sure to like and subscribe. Comment below. We're about completed with our heritage line of videos with the history and the unboxing. So
in the near future, we're going to have to look for other topics.
Yeah, so let us know. Comment below what you want to see going forward. So we've done Q&As, we've done some test some tricks, tips, everything like that. Let us know what you want to see. But until then,
I'm Trey.
I'm Jason.
We'll see you soon.
I hope this was at least somewhat informative because I'm leaving here more confused than anything. They're both amazing.
We're not helping people at all with this, I'm sure.
But it's fun and we get to listen to cool speakers.
Yeah,
so. Anyways,
in this case, all night long.
All night long.
Isn't there a song about that?
All night long. Quit breaking up in the middle. I can't make these cuts.